Hey, you're listening to Tommy McIntosh, and I am here at Uncommon.
This podcast is brought to you by Neuralle Media. Are you an entrepreneur or marketer who needs help making podcasts, video, or animation? Perhaps you don't have time to manage a freelancer or the budget to deal with an agency. Well, Neuralle Media can help you with simple and affordable content creation, saving you time and money by taking away the pain of producing that content. To learn more, head to neuralle.com/media. That's neuralle.com/media. Play around with our pricing or request a callback directly. Listeners to the show receive a special discount by using the promo code UNCOMMON. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon. My name's Jordan Michaelides and I'm your host. In this episode, I have for you Tommy McIntosh. Tommy is the creative director of Tommy Collins by Atlantic Group, which is catered for the Portsea Polo, Fashion Week, Runway shows, including Alex Perry's, The Secret Garden, and many more major events. He's also the co-owner of Tommy Collins Group, which has created numerous hospitality ventures, including the Almond Milk Co., House of Lulu White, the Hamptons Bakery, the Villager, Hawk and Hunter, and the Little Ox in Brighton, to just name a few. I've known Tommy from my very, very early days of the hospitality industry. I think when I was just a starry-eyed kid starting out, working at the Botanical, Tommy was one of my industry idols and easily ran my favourite cafe at the time, which was the Little Ox in Brighton. Both Tommy and his business partner Ben have always maintained this principled first approach to quality and unique events, catering many of my own personal family events, whether it's 50th birthdays, 21sts, engagement parties, whatever it may be. He's great at what he does and is definitely an even nicer bloke. In this episode, we covered Marty Fox and Turtlenecks, first catering clients, the rise of Little Ox, working with his business partner Ben, cafes and Almond Milk Co., the unique business model that they hold at Tommy Collins and Tommy Collins Atlantic Group, and as well speaking about balance and family time. If you like the episode, do leave us a rating on your podcast app or consider leaving us a review. Share with your friends, just take a screenshot, post on your Instagram story, tag us at uncommon_podcast and Tommy as well, which is at whoistommymc. You can watch the episode in full, just search Uncommon Podcast on YouTube and don't forget to like and subscribe. Show notes and all previous guests are at neuralle.com/podcast. That's neuralle.com/podcasts. With that being said, thanks for listening. I hope you all enjoy this conversation with Tommy McIntosh. Tommy, we're finally here.
We started?
We're starting. We're on.
Thank you for having me. Sorry, it's been quite the journey to get me here.
I know. I had some very good questions along the way for you.
Super.
A very cheeky one from Marty. He wants to know who's inspired your turtleneck collection.
One M. Fox did tell me about a juicy Turkish man he met that had an array of turtlenecks, and I couldn't help myself.
Did he seriously? Was he seriously the one that got you onto turtleneck?
Look, I did dabble in turtlenecks in my younger years. My brother brought one back from Italy. And they haven't cropped up since I saw Marty running around in one. And we were just doing something in the snow recently, so I thought, what a better time to pop on a skivvy.
I love them. I bought a bunch of like these wool long sleevers from it wasn't from P. Johnson, it was from a poor man's P. Johnson in Cos.
Yep.
Still look as nice, but I tend to reserve the cashola for the jackets and whatnot from those guys.
Yeah, I think with those kind of things, though, you got to wear a jacket over. For me, anyway.
You've got to.
I'm a heavier set of dude, so I do need a sports coat to cover up all the.
Where did you get your longer, the long neck turtleneck things from though?
So the place is next to the YT house on Chapel Street. I think it's called Dysnou, Dysnou.
Okay.
Denzio. It's a father-son who own it. There's some really cool. I actually picked up. He talked me in a couple of winter jackets as well, which is pretty sick. Yeah,
nice. Yeah, it's Look, it's a nice thing, clothes, isn't it? I don't know why. It's always been this thing that you and I and guys like Marty have always quite enjoyed. Maybe it's just the peacockiness.
I think there's a big sort of, I guess, peacockiness to it. But yeah, I've always been a massive fan of clothes fashion. I mean, I remember when I first moved to Melbourne, it wasn't all the right sports jackets. I think I had some flared diesel jeans with designer rips in them by myself. I barely showed a Fresh Jive T-shirt and I was wearing sweatbands.
Fresh Jive T-shirt.
But we don't talk about that.
Fuck, those are the days, man.
There are a few photos circulating that I think I've retained them all now. So it was before too much Instagram and stuff. So I got away with it.
I remember the days of like wearing Billabong and what was the store? Well, I feel like it was General Pants, but it can't have been open or like consistently gone through those different trends. Like I remember when General Pants had the emo trend.
How was the 3/4 pants?
Yeah.
Like what was it? The almost army 3/4 to here.
Khakis.
And the really good ones had like the tassels at the bottom you tightened. They were fucking horrible.
Have you noticed that like the trends of fashion now, particularly with 20-somethings is to get back to the 90s?
Yeah.
Bucket hats.
Funnily enough, today, I even had one of the kids who works in Cafe Lily White had a Metallica T-shirt on.
Of course.
And I said to him, Benny, what's your favourite Metallica song? And he looked at me and goes, mate, I picked this up at a secondhand store. I don't have one.
That's so funny because I used to, when I worked at Florentine's in Brighton back in the day, I used to wear a shirt from The Who.
Yep.
And I feel like mightn't have been Metallica, but I've still got one as a pajama top, and they were both from Savers.
Yeah.
And I had no idea back
well,
then.
you're young. That's all right.
Yeah, but it was funny. It was the same thing. It'd be like, oh, what's your favourite song? And they're like, oh, you're just fucking wearing it because it's cool.
Well, he owned it anyway. He said, look, I don't know. You got me. So, but look, fashion is, it's a massive part of what we do with catering, hospitality, events, presentation. It's always been something that's at the forefront of every day. You get up, get ready, out for the day. I always say you'll never catch me in tracky pants, Ugg boots or anything like that outside the house.
Why?
I don't know. It's funny. The wife, just even on Sunday, we're going to Bunnings for a sausage.
Okay.
And then we're heading, which is big favourite. And then we're heading out to...
with or without onions, by the way?
With onions.
Okay.
And I don't care. They can go on the top.
Yeah.
The slip thing underneath. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I've heard about all about that.
So with mustard and tomato sauce, only time I condone tomato sauce.
Okay.
Anyway, and we're getting dressed. I was like jeans, jacket things. Turtleneck was on.
Okay. Bunnings?
To Bunnings. He goes, what are you doing? Like, I'm dressed like this and you're dressed. I went, babe, it's just what I wear.
Yeah,
I can't help it.
Thank you. Like, Lauren, you can listen to this, all right? Like, I only have one mode of dress.
Yeah. And
sometimes she'll be like, oh, we're just, we're going to like a small gathering or whatever. And she's like, don't you think you're a bit dressy, like with a jacket and a shirt? I'm like,
no.
What would I wear?
That's it.
A T-shirt and a jacket. I like, for this occasion, I don't know. I can never, I don't know.
No.
I'm just one of those guys. Or like, I have like the classic denim with the wool,
yep,
collared type thing.
I know you look. You wear it well though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just sometimes I don't know. I feel out of place wearing it.
It's funny. Like I do. No, I don't try and dress. I don't know. It's my wardrobe. I've got a lot of jackets in there. I've been asked how many I've got.
How many do you reckon?
I've got 45.
Fuck.
But it's some on the way out, on the way in. But it's just always been something that I've just seen as, I don't know. You're a walking billboard of what you do, so you may as well dress your best at all times. Do
you ever think about potentially the hand-me-down element to your boy? Because because I got this thing. Where is it? On this jacket,
yeah.
I get where is it? This one here. I get insignia put on them.
Yeah. Because
I just like the archetypical ideal of having these nice clothes that last multiple decades and being like, like with watches and stuff like that. Well, your man
now, like, what's he be like in a couple of years' time when he's got all around the world and everything?
Yeah.
Look, it's funny. I was just up visiting my mum in Brisbane and I was just going through helping her tidy up and I found one of my granddad's jackets, which was amazing. So it was an old school maroon, like Paddington Bear sort of style number, which had a few moth holes and things, which I'm going to get restored. But yeah, I love that. I went through, my old man didn't have as much fashion sense, so I didn't get as many hand-me-downs, too many bigger shoulder pads and stuff, which you just can't take in. But yeah, definitely. I think it's something that I look forward to Alfie in years to come. Hopefully I don't wear these too hard and he can get into them. Because every time, like 80s, look, this bloody rolled up sleeve thing, this is a bit of an 80s thing, which I don't know. Like, whenever I wear a t-shirt, I just feel like they have to go up.
Yeah.
It just feels weird.
Is that what
down.
it is for you? You just like having them tucked up?
I think so. I feel comfortable. It's business shirt down, but that just, I don't know.
I'm very finicky about discomfort.
Yeah.
Like almost I've got like elements of OCD, so I like things that are imperfect.
I've picked up on your OCD. I've listened to a few podcasts and I've heard about it. Yeah.
I've now been told that I actually do have a little bit of it. So
yeah.
I prefer it. I don't know. I've never. It's there's this guy Jack Delosa. On Instagram.
Oh, Jack Delosa. What's that?
Yeah, he's like a sort of. They have like teaching related stuff for entrepreneurs, whatever, and he's always got the sleeves up. And
it does your head in. Is this hurting you?
It scares me.
If I do that half up and one down, is that going to fuck with you?
I just freak out.
Well, I've been told I've got ADD, so really? OCD and ADD, we could start something.
Yeah. Mine stems from anxiety, and it's just I've been told I've got like features. I don't have OCD. I've just got personality elements that are very strong when it comes to. Just things that are very, very finicky.
Mine stems from, this is like, I guess, a funny thing to see how long my concentration stays because we're talking, which is, it should be all right. But I have been told that my nickname's Daisy or things like that because I sort of just go off with the fairies there for a bit and a bird flies by and then I come back and I'm like, hey guys, we're back into it. So it's...
But that allows you to do what you do as well.
Well, I was just in a walk through the guy at, I think it's name, Leonard Joel. Anyway, it's a 100-year anniversary. We're looking to hopefully cater it. So when you listen to this, hopefully got the job. But walking around, like it straight away, my mind's thinking about their 100-year anniversary, what we can do there. And then I see a room. I'm like, wait a second, what's this? Is that for sale? A, B, can I hold a pop-up restaurant over here? Well, it's like, all right, we'll get back on point. We'll come back to that. But I want to talk to you about that pop-up restaurant.
Yeah.
I don't know. My mind just sort of...
Well, it's when you're creative, that's one of the hard things about being creative is you've got to find ways to steer that creativity because it's always jumping and finding things all the time.
I've recently started meditating, funnily enough.
Okay. I literally was meditating before you came.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm jealous. So one of the things was, one of the simple ones is staring at your hand. Yeah. And looking at all the intricacies of your hand and working your way around. And I've listened to this thing and it does work.
Oh yeah.
For me, when I start to thing away, I'll go, that's right, I'm back on point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
do you find that meditating with your eyes closed is harder than open? Yeah.
Much harder.
Yeah, I really, really struggle with
Freaks
that.
Me out. I know. I literally, the first one when I did it, I was sitting there and we were talking about cars coming past, and I was seeing cars coming towards me. So I was like, anyway. Then he said, okay, let's do this open eye one, and yeah, I got a little bit almost claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Funnily enough.
Yeah, I find with the eyes closed that it just makes me super, super anxious. Whereas open, it just I can just feel my body powering down. It's just like you got to focus on something like a glass, a chair, a hand.
Yeah, I was freaking out. I'm so glad he came up the second. No, literally, because I was trying to do it. Like, I didn't want to fail. So I was just like, this isn't working. I can't do this. And then he goes, Tom, I noticed you're struggling over there. Maybe we'll try something different. I'm like, yes. So anyway, it's I try to do that for 10 minutes a day.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for people like us.
It is.
You mentioned before about Brisbane.
Yes.
I know you attended St. Joseph's.
Yes.
And that's about it from that time, but I know that you did come down here to visit a sister. Mm-hmm. That's sort of what caught your eye about Melbourne. Why? I know what it was. You liked the smells, the happenings.
You got a good memory
of what was going on in Melbourne. Yeah. But why did you think like this is the place I want to make my home and my career?
I guess long story. My sort of, without going into where I started, but Melbourne itself, to answer that question, I remember was it before I went overseas? It was.
Yeah.
I was 17, I think, and I came to visit my sister in Melbourne. She worked for a guy, Peter Jones. He does events down here. He does like the grand final parade and Commonwealth Games, all that kind of stuff. Peter Jones events. Cool. He's a good guy. I've run into him recently. He's a great guy. Anyway, I remember being young-ish, I just bought these wicked pair of fly's eye shades. They were horrible. They were $20. They were next to the Y Noodle House, which is still there to this day, where you order your noodles in your box. My sister left me there, and I went for a walk, and I almost got lost in the laneways of Melbourne. I actually did get lost. And it was before mobile phones, so I was a little bit freaked out. And I somehow found my way back, no shit, through sense of smell. I was wandering, and all the laneways looked identical. And I was just, how amazing. That's where I was sort of just wandering, looking. Going, look at that, fuck, look at this. And I remember I'd sort of walked around and went, this isn't the same laneway, I'm lost here. And I almost smelt my way back to this point. This is where I smelt this, like it was this, I think it was a sandwich shop, it was a bakery or something nearby. And I went, I've been here before. Yeah. And I went, wait a second, now I know I am. And I was able to track my way back to my sister's place. But I wasn't like a panic thing. It was more like I got lost and I was just, it's amazing. Yeah. And then it just sticks to me this day that I couldn't remember where I was, but my sense of smell could tell me about where I was. Yeah. But, and then from that day, I was just like, I think it just sort of, I have certain things that have stuck with me throughout. And you have that moment, you're like, oh, that's why. Yeah. And then I remember I was over in Edinburgh for Northern Ireland first, but that's, you know, played a bit of rugby, did a bit there, went to Edinburgh. And that's when I fell in love with cocktails and cocktail bars, which sort of started the whole thing. I remember I was eating Weet-Bix at the time. I lived in Edinburgh. I was on someone's couch from Northern Ireland, who I don't know if he really wanted me there, but he was being polite. And I was just like, I think I worked at Castlemaine Brewery, so in the fucking mail room. Like, you think of the most boring place. You go to work at 8, it's dark. I'm delivering out mail. I think there was other guys there who were not being rude, but were there for a reason. And I was this young Aussie boy down there just delivering and collecting. I was like, there's more to life. And I was walking down George Street in Edinburgh. Have you been there?
In Edinburgh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Edinburgh. I can't remember which street George Street is. I've been down the Gold.
It's just beautiful. You've got like the castle up top that's out of an extinct volcano. It's stunning. And I walked past this cocktail bar and I went, fuck. I was 100 metres past. I went, I'm going to go back there and ask for a job. And I remember I walked the way back and I just went to the guy. I said, who's the manager? He goes, I'm the manager. I said, dude, I've been here for a while. I'm working this shit job at Castlemaine Brewery. I want to work here. I've been there once before. It's a really cool cocktail bar. And, you know, I want to learn. And he's like, mate, are you Australian? Yeah. Are you single? Yeah. Well, there's really hot chicks on this side of the bar, even hotter chicks on that side of the bar. You got to fit in. And I was just like, do I get the job? And he's like, start Friday. So from there, I sort of got into the whole cocktail scene and mixology. Okay. And it started my passion again. I do glassy and all that kind of stuff in Australia where I started. But it started
you'd worked at pubs, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I worked at a pub. I remember I was pouring a beer in Spring Hill for this guy. I just kept stuff. I couldn't pour a beer without saving myself. And he'd literally peer around the corner every time I was pouring. And I'd just shake and just F it up. I think he fired me on the second day. Really? And said, mate, you're not going to make it in hospitality. I was like, oh, shit, all right. And then I went and glassied at a place called Fridays, which is like 3,000 people. Fuck. But even then, like, I was like, I want to be the best glassy. So I literally used to stack up the biggest thing and walk through the crowd with this massive thing of like stacked rocks glasses and beer glasses and all that kind of stuff. And then, so it's always been, hospitality's always been around me.
Why do you think, what was it about hospitality for you?
Hospo for me was, I guess I found myself being more of a people person. I'm not good at studying, reading, applying myself to those kind of things. I remember I was the kind of guy at school who'd do his homework on the last night. I tried uni.
What did you try at uni?
So I tried electronic engineering.
Really?
So my old man said to me, Tom, I think you need to make some... I called him from Noosa. And I was out partying. Dad, read me some options. This is really bad. And then he goes, mate, I'm not impressed. I said, mate, Dad, read me some options because I need to make a decision. And he read out a few things. I didn't get the best OP. So I don't know what the grading is here.
It's all ATAR now, I think. But back then it was a VCE when I did it.
Yeah, right.
But we all had our own separate... Now it's all a universal thing called ATAR. Okay. I think.
So OP, so overall position. So number 1 was your best, which, you know, you got a few of those in your school. 26 was the worst. I was 16. Okay. So I wasn't at school really to apply myself. I loved my friends and hanging out, and I got through, but the whole study. Anyway, so he ended up in Toowoomba, electronic engineering, which I knew nothing about, which I
in Toowoomba as well.
Yeah, and then I went, fuck, what can I do next? I tried primary teaching.
Okay.
And then it could have worked. It could have worked. And then I remember I started playing rugby up there, got focused on that, worked in a pub. And I remember I turned up to this shoot and the lady goes, "Who are you?" "Oh, I'm Tommy." Or Tom back then. Thomas McIntosh. She goes, "Thomas, you missed the first 6 tutorials. So that means you basically failed." I was like, "Oh, okay." And she walked in and walked out, and that was my university experience.
Wow.
But I stayed up there for a year. We won the under-19 premiership and made heaps of good mates.
Well, it sounds like rugby was like a big thing for you back then.
Yeah, it was a little bit. I wasn't ever my brother was awesome. I was okay. But it was just a good social thing. You know? So I went to a school, you played it, started under 7s. It was always that social sort of aspect and teamwork and all that kind of jazz. So
when you were in Europe, particularly the UK,
yep.
How did the Tommy Collins nickname come about?
It's fun. So Tommy Collins sort of came about, I guess in the UK it's a lot more respected, but without that total flair sort of stuff, like it's mixology. So you can win big prizes, like a couple of £1,000, like diamond rings worth £1,000. I won a trip to London, all expenses paid for me and 5 mates. So it was kind of cool. So it just sort of had that Tommy. I drank a lot of Tom Collinses at the time. Tommy Collins sort of came about. So yeah, it just sort of stuck with me. And then when we were starting the company, I started a thing called Tommy Collins Cocktails originally. I thought it's cool. It's a good name. It was sort of this. The idea was a bit more of this sort of dude, Tom Collins. It wasn't me. It was like an
archetype, persona.
Persona, yeah.
Yeah.
Who sort of rocked up to your house and just sort of made cocktails and did his thing.
Yeah. And that was that.
Yeah,
it's an interesting one. Tom Collins is a brilliant drink for anyone who hasn't had it. I know that looking back at just the early beginnings, I found it really funny learning about how you guys kicked this off. Like, I know that you're working at a cafe, which, mind you, was this the Coin Laundry?
No, so it was a cafe who did catering also called Treat.
Okay, does it still exist?
No. Oh, I think the catering company do. They still sort of swim about a little bit, but the cafe is now Mammoth.
Okay.
So on the corner of Beatty and Malvern.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought for some reason I saw you at Coin Laundry like way back when I was like 18.
Coin Laundry. We looked at it.
Yeah.
So the week after we opened Little Ox, we got offered the Coin Laundry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we were just like, shit, we just spent all the money building this, which wasn't like that was why it was so good. But and we were just like, nah. And then the boys who have got Tall Timber, all those things, Port of Call, all those ones, that was him.
Oh,
so
really?
Steve Rowley and his business partners. So, yeah.
I'd love to chat to him.
He's a good guy. So he's obviously got frank body and he's good looking and like
doing everything.
He can just piss off. Steve Rowley, if you're listening, you can piss off. You're too good looking and too successful. Eat a bag.
I found it really funny,
joking.
Seeing how you roped in Ben to doing this. Does he ever give you the shits about the fact that you stopped him from getting into construction?
No, it's so Benny, business partner, the main business partner we sort of had throughout the years. I'd been to Edinburgh and come back, moved to Melbourne, met him, managed one of his bars that he had at a young age. And then he left, went over to Edinburgh and came back, and that's another story. We got into coffee and all that jazz. But he got back and he was trying to get into building, construction.
Yeah.
And that's where this first sort of job came about. Our first client popped up to the window. Felicity, how are you? And she was all upset because someone had pulled out of her son's 18th, which I think was one of the bigger catering companies in Melbourne, who I hadn't heard of. I didn't know what catering was at that time. Right. And I was like, Flick, don't worry about it. I can sort this out for you. So I called up Benny and just said, mate, we'll go around to Felicity's place. Let's see what she's got. And we ended up sort of sat down with her. It was quite a big event, big 18th, that, we sort of pulled off within 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
we had a marquee down on the tennis court. It was a beautiful home in Toorak.
Dukes of Hazzard theme.
Yeah, Dukes of Hazzard theme, yeah. So I had a couple of girls dressed as Daisy Duke on arrival. A couple of my good-looking mates, Cam and Ben, were like the brothers out the front with the hats. So I sort of roped in all my mates just to help out. and collected all these hay bales from out the thing and just put on a really good event. We ran a parents' party and the kids' party, and they sort of gelled together, 2 different menus. We weren't catering at the time. We outsourced the catering.
Okay.
And then, that was our first event. It was massive. So we pulled it off.
It's funny, like you must have gone in there when you guys were sitting down with Flick.
Yeah.
What was it like as it dawned on you how big this event really was?
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, it's sort of, you get immune to it throughout the years, all these beautiful places you're in. But, I'm a Brisbane boy. I grew up in a house. I'm youngest of 5. We had 3-bedroom house. We all sort of shared. And, it's to walk into a house like this and you're just like, like it's, and, you're not going to do that. You just sort of like, you compose. Yeah, it's a nice place. Yeah, sweet. You can do it. So it was pretty amazing. So, and, we come up with a concept and it's, we sort of, worked hard at it and then we ended up with something. And we sort of ended up with a bit of money after and we were looking going,
what do we do with it?
Because we didn't have any overheads then. So
yeah.
We, what do you do? And then I remember I was sweeping up the back there, getting rid of these bloody hay bales. It's a funny story, but it's a long one. But, geez, there's so much easier ways of hiring a 10-ton truck and picking up hay bales.
Really?
People deliver and pick them up. I did the longest way possible.
Right.
It's all a learning curve. But, yeah, and then while I was sweeping up the hay from their house, I got a phone call on my Nokia E710, whatever it was. And it was her friend. We caught up there, and there was the next party. So
wow.
I said, I was at that party. Can you help us out with this one? And it's like, yeah.
And I know that you guys had something like 10 events in the space of the first few months. Like they just kept cascading on each other.
It was a year of the GFC. So
was it really?
Yeah. So it was about that time we were starting, and another big catering company. I don't know if you know his name, give him a plug, but we're good mates. But BK. Anyway, so they'd come out and said, look, we're not doing anything, or they'd announced they're not doing anything under an amount of thing, and we just got into catering. So we were saying, we'll do it. Happy days. And then I think just from, I guess, it was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of hard work. I remember one of the events, I woke up 6 a.m. On event day. This is the lead up. Worked all the way through, went to bed at 5, slept for an hour, and I went back and cleaned up the next day. So we were doing everything. Oh. So I had an hour's sleep in 24 hours. And I was buzzing though. Like it was so cool.
Yeah. The excitement that you must have had.
Yeah.
Would have been palpable.
A lot of pressure. It was really cool to have a concept and then do it and then see it happen and then see the smiles on everyone's faces and then, fuck, we did that. And then it, and you just go back the next day and you just want to do everything. So I'm going to clean that place. Okay.
So in that period of time in these first events, in the beginnings of what Tommy Collins would become, what did it really teach you both? Because I know that one of the things that you did really well that the industry does differently is they work from logistics first, menu last, whereas you went from experience first, logistics last.
Yeah.
Which where I guess the hay bales story comes into it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I guess with our menus and everything we do, we always like to do things that we like. So it's always been around design, fashion, food, and everything that I like to create for customers. So I guess with a menu, we'll look at a menu and go, this is the best menu for this. For if you're getting married, this is the menu you need. All right. And then they go, right, we're getting married out in a farm. All right, we'll work that out after. But this is what we want to deliver to you. So I guess it's finding out the exact thing we want, working out how it works later. It'll happen. So whether we need to set up a marquee with a generator, with running water, with tables, with flooring, with all this stuff to make it happen, it'll happen.
Yeah.
So that was sort of, whereas I think a lot of other people, but other in the industry will go with things that are sort of easy to do. Well, it makes sense. You make more money, more margin. You've got that wedding. We've got another wedding the second night. We'll put the two menus together. So again, it works on the bottom line. It's not how we work.
Yeah.
There's
the same menu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like it, and particularly when they're at venues where you've got one kitchen covering like 3 or 4 different spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense for making money, but I think with everything we did, we knew we're not in it for a short-term win by any stretch. We're looking to be around for a long time. And it was more about, fuck, we won't make as much money in the early stages, but we'll be around longer.
Yeah, and you build a reputation. It's sort of like the Amazon Jeff Bezos view of the world is your margin is my opportunity.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can definitely see that. I know you did a few events for us, 50th birthdays.
Yeah, correct.
You did my 21st. I feel like you did my 21st and 18th birthday.
I think I did. Actually, I think I did.
That was awesome. Yeah. I remember like arguing with my dad that we had to have Tommy Collins.
No, that was awesome. Thank you. No, I remember dealing with your dad and the journey along the way and everything. It was, I know there was a Greek theme one in there somewhere.
I feel like that was the 21st.
How old are you now?
29. Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's funny, all those things. We've actually we've just started planning. We're getting married overseas in Japan.
Yep, awesome.
But we've just started planning. Well, as soon as we go over there and book it in October, we'll have to start planning. What is it? Engagement party stuff.
Yeah.
So there's the next one.
Yeah, nice. Is that the pitching for this? Or? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, that's why you're in here today.
We're gonna do a live pitch here. That's cool, Japan.
Yeah,
cool.
Japan. Very cool. Mainly just because we want to get away from Australia, the big family.
Yep.
Get into, I don't know, we've been there a lot. We wanted to have it overseas, and just that's how it worked out.
No, it's beautiful. I haven't been to Japan, but it's very high on my list.
Yeah, it's a stunning place. So you've done these events. You've had 10 or so.
Yep.
Your HQ has been changing from lounge room to lounge room. The little ox comes up. You tell me before in the kitchen, you see this space, you call a guy, I want this space. You're in.
Yeah.
You've done the build for peanuts, I'd say.
Yeah, it was good. We did it ourselves.
Yeah, you did it all yourself.
Yep.
And it was an amazing venue. I remember when it opened and just thinking like, fuck yeah, there's finally something like this in Brighton. And I know just from the amount of people that would go there, you obviously did pretty well.
It was pretty crazy, the space, what it did. Well, sorry, was that going to finish with the question?
Yeah,
Did I cut you off?
No.
Yeah, it was one of those things where he drove past, did the whole thing, called the Benny, mate, we need this place. He goes, mate, I love that place. I was like, we're doing it. And it literally, there was myself, another mate, Luke Holt, was in the business at that time.
That's right.
And Simon Winfield, who was about to join, but he was our head chef, who did a couple of jobs for us. Went, Simon's a really good worker. Yeah. Like, he would be good to get the Little Ox. So he came and joined the Little Ox. Now in turn, he's still a partner in Tommy Collins and runs the Hamptons now. But it was the four of us together, four mates coming together, like literally masking tape on the ground, where we sat in every position where it should be. We built the tables, built everything ourselves, and it was an animal. I remember on the first opening week or something, people because everyone's like, mate, there's no foot traffic. Well, who's going to come? And I'm like, dude, I don't want to be another dickhead on a high street where people are walking down reading who's got the best special or who's got the cheapest option.
Yeah. I
want people to come. Like, I want to go to those boys because they're doing this, not because I stumbled across it. And there's parking for Africa. So it was, and people just turned up. I remember we had this lineup like on our first 2 weeks, like out and around the corner.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck me.
I remember the days. I remember always, what was my thing? You had like a Reuben sandwich there.
The Reuben, yeah. They're coming back into all our cafes again.
Yeah, that was like favorites. I remember if I'd had a day, I was at home from uni and from work, and it was like 3 p.m. I was going into work in a few hours. I would go in, quickly grab a Reuben before, or maybe it was 2 o'clock or something like that. Grab a Reuben and like be praying that like the kitchen wasn't closed. Grab a coffee, go back, smash the Reuben in the car on the way back.
Yeah. It was
good.
It's such a big part. Like, hospitality and cafe culture in Melbourne's huge.
Yeah.
It's massive. It's probably too big now.
It's definitely too big.
It's too flooded. But that's, again, everything happens like that. Like, everyone thinks there's a lot of money in cafes and everything. It's very sexy, but it's long hours. It's hard work. It is fun. I'm not going to detract anyone from that. And if you're good at it, go crazy. But it's, that was, we had that for 8 years, and that was quite a benchmark of a business that, for what we did it for and we ended up selling it for and everything, and how many people you interact in their lives. They'll come in 4 times a day. It was insane. Like, you get people come in 4 times a day and you loved it. And that's the one thing I think I miss most about when you sell on a cafe is you don't get to see those people again.
Yeah.
Like, you can stay in contact, But then it's sort of, there's certain people there, you're like, oh, I wonder what they're doing now.
Yeah.
You miss them. You do miss them all.
Yeah, you don't get to see that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you, when you think back to that time, were you guys doing a lot of catering then as well?
Yeah, well, we sort of catering. My main goal was to have a cafe. So I worked at sort of 3 places in Melbourne, 4. And I always knew I'd have a cafe somewhere in between. Mm-hmm. So I thought I'd build up a following here, and here, and open something up in there. Mm-hmm. And that's what sort of unfolded. But before that, we started a catering company. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of, again, it just sort of ticked up. We're doing like wave 1 a month.
Okay.
So we're sort of cooking out of, this is when we'd been through a few different options, like other caterers didn't work. Ben's brother was a chef, just got back from overseas. He'd worked with Ramsay Gordon. He was working with Ramsay, yeah. So, so he just got back from that, and it was a good little selling point then too. Emil came back from working with Ramsay at one of his restaurants over there. Now he's back with us, and so I think at that point we were catering out of the Ox, but the Ox was too busy, so we had to find a new space. So I think we moved at that point to Felicia's Butchers, which is in Elwood. Amazing butcher. Amazing. He charges, I think, fierce. But we were doing all these take-home meals instead of rent. Our chef would do take-home meals and we'd do our catering on the side. Uh-huh. So we'd do pies and all kinds of things for him, and then he'd let us use the kitchen. So I remember like one year, we were doing the races, and this is back in the day when we were sort of doing everything. And I'll tell you a really, really quick funny story. So our very first race carnival thing, Ben and I did catering out of Ratho Street in... I can tell these stories, they're funny now. In Hampton, where his mum had the place. We only had to do I think it was for 30 people. It was sandwiches, salads, a few wraps and that kind of stuff. Anyway, we're up at 4. So excited. Ready, starting to go. We didn't work out about factory line food, so we were making to order. We literally, I think it took 4 to 5 hours to make 36 sandwiches and salads.
Oh my God.
And it was hilarious. But anyway, so we worked on that and hired chefs to do things for us. But I remember this one day we were doing at the butcher shop. I had to hire a ute. I was driving the ute down. Because I was setting something up, and then I had to get changed while I was in the ute. I think I ran into a pole. It was loading it in. I got to the race course, pulled a barbecue. I'm cooking the barbecue. I'm making cocktails over here. It was full on.
Yeah. I can imagine that would be intense.
The guys at work used to make a gag that I'd turn up in one thing, change to this, put this hat on, put a waistcoat on. Can I get you a cocktail? Then I'm over here. So it was funny days.
Yeah, you guys sort of really established yourself then. One thing I wanted to ask you about is this late harvest Riesling and half a wheel of St. Auger.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What the hell? What's the reference to that?
We always, Ben and I always have, I guess, most of our, and not to say that we haven't had Simon involved in it, but in the early stages, most of these ideas all came around 2 mates hanging out eating, what we like doing. You'd have some St. Auger, some Riesling. I like aged Rieslings because they're a bit diesely, a bit Caro-y. Got a bit of flavour to them. But it was just more of a thing. You would sit down, eat cheese, drink wine and go, well, what are we doing next?
Yeah. And
that's what sort of, and at the start, I think most of it sort of came about where we just would buy booze and have stuff left over. We didn't make a lot of money, but we had good stuff to drink. So happy days. And it's I think that's sort of how it came about.
Yeah.
Where I think whenever we sort of finished catering, we'd always have leftover food, and we'd invite our mates around the following day and have a little bite to eat together and just talk about what we did, what we could do better, all that kind of stuff. So we're just constantly entertaining, basically.
And so it was that was where the idea flourished, just through osmosis.
Yeah, basically. So we sort of decided, Ben and I, back in the day, that we'd do everything 50-50. So while we were setting up Tommy Collins, I think we worked at a place called Inca 7, which the boys now own Piranha Chai.
Yeah.
And they had Merchants Guild, Vinny and Mario. And we also worked at Cafe Racer. So we basically told these two, and then also Woodstock up in Armidale, which is now Moby.
Yeah.
But we basically told these 3 guys that book 4 shifts a week, and either you'll get Ben or I, both equally skilled at coffee making and all that stuff. And then Ben and I would work out who would turn up on the day, and then we'd just split the money. So everything we did. So we did that, and then we also did a coffee cart down in Brighton Old Boys or something.
Really?
Yeah. We made coffee there
at the footy club.
At the footy club. Every Saturday we'd rock up with our coffee machine. This is before Little Ox. and we'd make like $600 and split it, or $700 and split it down the middle. So at the end of the week, we'd just get all our money together and go, right, half your, half mine. So it was good. It was a good little thing we had, which we still sort of do. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was curious. What have you learnt from Ben?
Yeah, look, a lot, and vice versa. I think the greatest thing, I guess, I've seen Ben is, without being, we always say we're partners in life. So like I spend more time with him than I do my wife.
It always happens in a business.
Yeah, and he's like the rock, like the sturdy sort of thing. Like I'm out doing crazy ideas. He's finance, I'm the romance, but then we swap over again, and we swap over. We're both businessmen now, but it was sort of, I'd get all sort of excited and crazy. We're doing this is nuts, X, Y, and Z. Or, mate, I'm a pretty emotional guy. Oh, it's not going to work. And then he'd just go, mate, just settle down.
Yeah.
And Ben does sort of all the, I guess, the physios and everything on everything. He's become a lot more creative. You have. He said he wanted to be an influencer the other day.
Did he? What type of influencer?
I don't know, but he said, mate, can you start tagging me? Because I'm not going to be an influencer if you don't tag me. And then he's over that now, so we move on. Yeah,
I get a sense that the differences in personality has helped you both dynamically.
Yeah.
I think the fact that you're able to go up there and come up with these ideas, and then he's able to really give them some groundwork.
Correct.
I get a sense.
Yeah.
And some reality.
Yep.
I can see that he would be that type of person.
Yeah, and we both sort of gel into the same sort of thing now, but that's still back to our, front of house, back of house, romance, finance, that kind of stuff.
So during that time, the Little Ox, like I said, you sort of established the catering business then. Over the years, you guys have had a lot of venues. Hawk and Hunter, Little Collins, Schmucks. You've now got the Hamptons Bakery, House of Lulu White, the Villager up at Bulla. I'm sure I've missed something there.
Golden Child.
Amco. And
Almond Milk Co, Brighton Boy.
Yes, Almond Milk. So you are still involved in that?
Yeah, we still own Almond Milk Co with the boys, the two merchants, Cam and Sam.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know Cam from the days when he worked in a bar on Fitzroy Street in St Kilda.
Fitzroy Street, or he worked at the Woods of Windsor there for a while.
He did work at the Woods of Windsor.
Yeah, and Cam's got around. He's a good guy.
Yeah. He was the one that initially started it, yeah? And he was doing it out of your cafe.
And then also South Central. But then...
That's right.
So Cam sort of, again, came to us with a concept while we'd moved Tommy Collins' office quite a few times. I think we're at the Deaf Children's Australia at this time, which was our second last move. And he came up making this almond milk off the back of an intolerance.
That's right, yeah.
So he came to us and said, look, I've made this thing, I taste the fuck, that tastes good. And Ben said, that tastes good. And then we sort of at that point backed him and said, look, we'll put some money into it. And you can use our kitchen for production, which was at the back of the Hawk and Hunter. So we used to have the office at the Hawk and Hunter. We moved to DCA, but then so we had the boys down the back there using our kitchen as they'll do it in blenders and stuff. And it was like 1,500 litres of almond milk with blenders and muslin cloths and presses and...
Jesus.
Jeez Louise.
What do they
great
do?
Product.
What do they do now? They must have a processing.
Yeah, so we've got like a big machine that I think what took 7 hours now takes 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So we're working on some things with that for longer shelf life and to keep the raw product as well, but Milk Lab came along and sort of smashed the market quite a bit with that. And that's something we're looking to go up against again. So rebrand, because what they've got on the side is the boys they're great guys, they're passionate. It's a local product. Milk Lab's from New Zealand. But it's people who run cafes are on a margin. So a raw product, although it's beautiful, it does cost a little bit more. Shelf life's lower. So if you're a barista, it's harder to work with. So
that's right. What was the overarching strategy with having your own venues while running the catering business?
Cafe venues or
just cafes and why continue to open things like Schmucks and South Central, which then became House of Lulu White, and things like the Village. Like why do it?
I think it's to keep yourself busy and sharp. Also, look, like I said before, with I think I've got a little bit of ADD. It is to keep yourself relevant, I guess. Also, and it's ideas you have. We've been very lucky. I mean, I come from a pretty mid-level, amazing parents and family, but didn't come from a lot of money. So to be able to make that money to be able to do that and to create it, it's pretty cool. And like I think like with like Take Hawk and Hunter was a space I spotted, and I was like looking and going, like, this is Atticus around the corner and there's no one else in the area. Why isn't this working? We went to it was owned by the synagogue next door.
Really?
Yeah. So the rabbi and they're our landlord. Anyway, so we made a first pitch for it, and they said, no, we're giving you a couple of local Jewish boys. They're opening a noodle bar called Chopsticks.
Okay.
Which ended up getting closed down for food poisoning.
Jesus.
So then a year later we came back, offered less, got the space, and it was something that we literally created. We knocked down the walls by ourselves. Simon was then a business partner, a very handy guy. Like he was in the big unit too, big South African. And he's a chef, so it made sense. And we created this space. Like we knocked down a space here, and you go, oh, look at that room. Oh, let's cut a window in here, put the catering kitchen in there.
Yeah.
And I think back to your question, it's a great place to meet people for future business. So I guess the monetary side of things is, I think I do my best selling not at my computer over the phone is over a coffee machine or delivering a glass of wine or doing X, Y, and Z that's all front of house. And it's just, I think there's certain things when you sort of got that bug of hospitality that you just want to do. And you're like, fuck, I've got this really good, cool idea. Let's do it. And I think...
It still seems... I can see how it would make... this focus on creativity and experience would be front and center because you're creating venues that are still relevant to the industry. Yeah, I can totally see it. It reminds me a lot of Union Square Dining Group.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Do you know those guys?
I don't actually, but I'm going to have to check. I'll make sure I check them out after this.
They're probably one of the best ever operators.
In London?
No, they're in the US.
No, okay.
They own, God, it's not Betty's Burgers, is it?
Okay, there's a couple of American boys who own Betty's Burgers.
Or was it In and Out?
Maybe In and Out Burger was the big burger joint.
But they did, it was either Betty's Burgers or In and Out, and it became a really successful, high-quality burger joint, but they have an insane amount of venues.
Yeah.
But what they've done really well is, instead of getting their margin through the actual product, they got their margin through staff and training.
Yeah.
So if you imagine in a company like that, you can hire someone, and maybe they're at a fine dining restaurant, they're at a certain stage of their career, and they're like, do you know what? I just want to go work at a cafe, or I want to go work at a burger joint, or I want to go work at a caterer.
And they opened up,
and then they can go move them to that place.
I guess, yeah, I've never heard of that, but that is, I guess, what we sort of had. Yeah,
because the hardest thing when you get people in is training.
Correct.
And maintaining stuff.
And then catering, even though we're a very busy caterer now. I won't say how much we turn over, but it's a lot. And it is something that even in winter, like this week, literally would be, I think we got one job this week. One job. But in summer, we'll do 20 jobs.
Jesus.
So it's that bell curve catering where you go down.
Yeah.
And, to have that fallback of retail, which is always, because it's pretty funny, like Tommy Collins, the brand, has always been our strongest thing. Like Tommy Collins, I'm very proud to say that which has been 10 years now, people know about it, which is kind of a weird thing too. Because I feel like it's all happened in like a blink of an eye. People go, oh yeah, and I listen, oh, you're Tommy from it's like, yeah. So it's kind of funny, but it's always had that retail to profit. So it's probably our least money maker, but it's always been that one that's kept the brand alive, and then the retail's propped it up, and then
they work.
Hope they all sing at once, and
they sort of work together, and it's not. Yeah. If you want to last long in the industry, I feel like it's sort of the better avenue to go in the long term. I just think that Union Square Dining Group is probably the best hospitality operator in the world. There's been a lot of use cases written about them. That's what I was reading recently. You guys went from all those venues for a while. I know with Matt Pember, you seemed to work out a deal at the Little Veggie Patch.
Yeah, just over the road here,
You did an insane amount of jobs. I think it was during 2015 or 16.
Yeah, 15, 16.
Yeah.
So that was, we ended up doing 42 jobs.
Okay.
And I sold them with my team, but I sort of was the head of within 2 months.
Jesus.
So, and we sold 4 to 5 weddings.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. I mean, that's, the one thing I've loved doing, and it's not from me being a salesy person. I get into something And I fall in love with it, and I fucking live, breathe it. I'm like, I want to do this. And it was out without renders and stuff. But I remember we just took all these. So Matt had a little veggie patch go. Awesome idea. So all the chefs up top here used to come down and collect garden stuff. And it was good in theory, but then to send chefs down to go collect a couple of veggies from the thing, it doesn't make sense. So it was good for PR for these chefs to be involved early. So then I think the council and people around started having veggie pots.
That's right.
But it wasn't working for him. So Tay, who's now, who started off, actually Taylor Matthews, who started off he's been with 7 years. He was like a supervisor, a worker, is now GM of the company.
Really?
Yeah, so Tay played soccer with Matt and got to know about it, and he went and checked it out. And I was like, well, fucking, why don't we come up with this concept where, well, Matt, do you need all this veggies? He goes, no, well, can we take half? I'll lease half off you. And then that way you've got another revenue coming through. And then obviously we tied together with the hire company, Fed Square and everyone to make it happen. So it's basically taking you to that thing where these veggie patches, like, all right, we're going to put a marquee here. You can have a tunnel of fairy lights you walk through. And
it was a pretty amazing location. Like some of the shots there are stunning.
I luckily got married there as well.
That's right.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And it's just been, I think there's a nice skating rink there now. But Fed Square it's been empty for like years, which is really sad.
It is, yeah.
But they're looking to do stuff with it now. I know they are. So
I think, the run now that we went by, they've got like a skating rink or something like that.
Winter Wonderland or something.
Winter Wonderland.
But Fed Square are looking to rebrand themselves at the moment. They're currently rebranding.
Really?
We're sort of chatting to them about a few things. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did tell me about doing that to Atlantic Group? What happened there? Was that a merger, joint venture?
Yeah, it's something that sort of, I guess, people got a bit confused with. I guess with what we do, our retail, I guess back to your question earlier about why do all these things is, I guess there's not a lot of, I can say this pretty openly, there's not a lot of people, caterers in Melbourne who can do retail or retail hospitality. We're sort of like chameleons. So being able to do a retail, a restaurant, a cafe, and then do catering well is hard. It's hard to tie together.
Yeah.
I know the big group have got Design Depot, what are the things? Capital Kitchen. But that's a certain kind of cafe thing it is. So we're sort of doing retail well, we're doing catering well, but then it's kind of like a thing where we were doing around, I think, 2.5 in catering at the time, and we're just sort of going along, and we want to ramp this up, or we're happy just to tick away. And at the time, Hatton, who's Atlantic Group, he used to live around the corner from the Ox. We had a good relationship there already.
Okay.
So he had his big thing, big flashy guy, his Porsche, his Cheshire grin, his Docklands. And anyway, I pinched one of his main clients. And he was like, what are you doing over there? Anyway, and look, it just sort of a few conversations started. He had like an external catering. He does all the majors and got the venues, everything down really well. But his external catering arm wasn't working as well. And we were ticking along, but we were creating wage for ourselves, basically. And then we just sort of luckily had a similar, we had the same accountant, and he went, hey guys, what do you reckon about this? Like, why don't you do this, you do that? And it wasn't a buying out or anything, it was just a JV, a straight JV.
Yeah.
He was either going to close his down, we were thinking about it, we thought we could probably stick about a bit longer, and we thought, why not join together?
Okay.
Share resources. So you bring your amount, we'll bring our amount, bring it together. You've doubled your money making thing there. And then share your resources. And that's what it all sort of came about.
And that was literally it.
That was it. And it was, look, our first year, look, it was funny because I still get to this day, do you still own it or you sold out? I didn't fucking sell out. If I did, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's something that a lot of people don't realise.
Yeah, so it is, look, I think in the long run, it was a good thing. I think it was, we needed it.
Do you feel that it sort of put you guys to the next level? Because I feel like when you became Tommy Collins Atlantic Group, there were a few events in there that you started doing that you were not doing in the past.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, that's exactly right. Like, Atlantic Group are a big beast, and they are really good at what they do. They do the major events, Grand Prix, 24,000 people over Flemington,
Jeez.
which I have no interest in, FYI. It's too much.
Yeah.
1,000 people venues and stuff. But, they had the infrastructure there, and they've got the muscle, and H, who's the face of Atlantic, didn't have a face to his external. I'm the face of external catering. But being able to do that, we were able to approach. So I've been ticking away at Portsea Polo for years. And we worked with a couple of marquees, but now we did the bulk of that last year. We picked up Portsea Polo, Flinders Polo, Twilight Beach Polo, the Fashion Festival, which I think is about 8,000 people over 5 days.
Virgin?
Yeah, Virgin Melbourne Australian Fashion Festival. And we just did Good Food Month. So, I mean, the brand behind our brand, it only strengthens it. And
exactly.
Then the whole pull-on procurement, marketing. I mean, people used to come to us and go, I've got a HR issue. I'd Google, like, what well, I don't know. So we've got a HR team now, like the whole thing. It all comes.
So you've got all the
we're legit.
So basically you can just go to a place now, back in, like you were saying about the making of the sandwiches, you're spending the hours to make 36 sandwiches or whatever. Now it's just a matter of like, you go in there, you've got the full specs, the full suite of everything to offer an amazing experience.
Correct.
It doesn't matter.
But we still have our DNA with it. So my fingerprints and everything we do is always on it.
Yeah.
Figuratively. But it's, I mean, that was the cool thing to be able to like go, like people who like Dan Vaughan at the Portsea Polo, like he'd offers it to us. We didn't get it. And then, now we've got that backing behind us. The boys have got support. So it definitely has helped.
What do you think in particular you've learnt from, it's Hatem, yeah?
Hatem, yeah. Hatem. Yeah, like Adam
always,
with a H.
Always pronounce it wrong.
Yeah.
What have you learnt from him in particular?
From H?
Yeah.
Look, I guess... Look, he's a really hard worker, really hard. He's like up early. He goes to all these events. Look, I guess it got me sort of sparked again into being front and center in events. It's definitely, I wouldn't do it to his level. I mean, he's got a young family as well, 3 kids. But he's worked hard. And I guess he's sort of sparked my energy for doing, not that I've ever actually stopped working hard. I've sort of worked, I think even last week, the week before, I worked like a 18-hour day.
Jesus.
So I still do it. Like I'll start in the tools at Lulu, make coffee because I I'll do 2 hours of coffee from say 7 till 9 or 10 o'clock, and then I'll go and start my day. Not all the time, but and I guess the main thing I've learned from H is that getting back into that work ethic of but he takes it too far, the big fella. I like to go home.
So you reckon he's doing like 16-hour days every single day?
He'd be up there. He does take his Sunday off, and I know he takes the kids to soccer and stuff on the Saturday and everything. So and that's so important, the balance.
Yeah, well, that was the one thing I love this quote that you had there somewhere. It was, stress is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it gets you nowhere.
Yeah, it's one of them.
You're a big family man with Sundays. I always make sure that I've got Sundays off and I do nothing.
Yep.
What are the principles there to manage stress apart from meditating?
Like family or Sundays?
Just all of it. Like how do you...
Look, I guess the main things are obviously spending time with your kids is huge and supporting your wife. I mean, it's such a hard family. Looking after kids for a whole day or two, it's tough.
Yeah.
So I guess being a support when I get home, when I can. What we do is at the start of the week, which is very important, is map out and for my son as well, so he knows where I am, that when I'm home and when I'm at events. So, it's not like, oh, babe, I'm not home till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock tonight. We'll sit at the start of the week and go, Tuesday night's family dinner. I'll make sure I'm home by 5. I'll cook on this night. I won't be home till 11 that night. I can start a little bit later that day. And it gives my wife some support, and then also gives my son, oh, I know daddy's home. We have little stars when dad's home and all that kind of stuff. So it's
What's parenting been like? Because I have not seen you since you became a parent.
It's been that long.
I feel like it's been that long.
Holy shit. It's parenting. It's awesome. It's crazy. My daughter just turned 1 today.
That's right.
Yeah, little scout, Scarlett. She's it literally, like I took Alf. I took him to work yesterday from start to finish, and it's weird. It's cool, but it's weird.
How's it weird? Like, as in you just can't believe that this
little dude is yours, and then like they learn so quickly, and like he has little conversations, and he's 5 and he's smart and he's saying things. Well, how did you even know that? They do these little, like, where did you learn? Like, it's.
Do you feel like for you it really put things? I feel like some people it doesn't, some people it does. It just sort of gave you perspective and a bit more fire in the belly to be doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it does a little bit. It does. Like I don't. I mean, I don't think too much about it. Like, I'm a dad. I think I love it, and I love my kids to bits, and I think it's a very important part of life. But if you choose not to, then happy days. You don't either.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, it does help out a lot. I think it's I try not to take life too seriously. Like, I mean, I do take work seriously, but then again, like, I'll do stupid shit at work. We'll be sitting in a boardroom meeting, I'll pull something out, I'll find like a Ninja Turtle in my pocket, I don't know, kids there.
Yeah.
And I'll sit there and just try and be really serious. And the poor kids are going, who is this guy? How is he my boss? Like, why is this?
It's a good mentality.
No, it's like, it's just like, I don't think in life you can take it too seriously. Like, stress is like a rocking chair. Keep saying do, but get you nowhere. Like, it is. It's true.
It's a very good point.
Yeah, and it's because you can get really worked up. And what we do with weddings, and I mean, I've been at weddings in the middle of the country where something's forgotten, and I've jumped in the car and driven 180 k's per hour to the nearest store to pick shit up to make sure it happens. Like, the crazy stuff happens all the time.
Yeah,
and it's there's the fires. We were doing a wedding in Sydney. In the Blue Mountains.
Jesus.
And there was a fire, and they were going to hold it there. It's a week out. They said, no, look, it's getting too dangerous. This was a couple of years ago. We relocated the whole thing down to Ramwick at the sheds there at the back of the things. But you can't stress about these things. You just got to work it out. Like, things go wrong all the time. And if you sit there and stress out, then what's the use? You're just going to waste your energy doing that. You could sit there and think about, what could I actually do to fix the situation?
Yeah, you could take, most people who've had success in life, I find, generally take action as opposed to thinking about it. And I feel like that's a skill that you just learn through trial by fire in hospitality.
Yeah.
You've just got to do it.
Yeah.
Like, just get the problem fixed.
Putting out spot fires.
Just don't bother with this. Like, I get things all the time in the industries that I work in, and people will send you slabs of an email, and it's just like, okay, let's just get this problem fixed and get it sorted.
You could have called me. You could have saved yourself 20 minutes from drafting that email. I would have given you an answer.
Yeah, thinking about it in the shower.
Yeah. Burning energy over the weekend.
What's the catering business to you? Like, when you think about it, I feel like you guys are probably running one of the most interesting businesses in the space.
Yeah, thanks.
What do you think about what it is? Like, what is your job at the end of the day?
Well, title is creative director, but look, I think my job at the end of the day is to create basically, I want to have, it's like, you want to say the best, you get best is best, whatever. I guess it's to be really well known for doing really fucking good catering and being different to everyone else. Like, we always talk about bucking trends. Like, when something happens, like, I mean, I used to be known for bow ties and stuff, and I think I've worn a bow tie in 3 years because everyone's like, once it was our thing. I'd hire my mates, we'd all wear bow ties, and then Roland started doing it, and then Atlantic started doing it, and everyone started doing it. I'm like, well,
now I can't
be Tommy Bowtie anymore. But like, even just like small things, but like even like food trends and all that kind of stuff, where it is in I guess in food and hospitality, there is a lot of photos and stuff. You have to keep yourself ahead of that, but you don't want to be the same as everyone. So, like people sticking bloody donuts to the side of freaking milkshakes and like, that's a fucking heart attack in a cup. And I'm not going to give my kid that. That's stupid. It's got like glue with like sticky shit. But it is looking at situations and trying to keep yourself very relevant and ahead of the trends without trying to, I guess, copy or emulate, try to come up with the ideas. I mean, I've got my own private Pinterest thing and my own private books of stuff that I've got ideas and stuff that I write down all the time and concepts for places and that haven't taken off. Like, we've done a lot of tenders we didn't win, and there's just a pile of ideas that are just sort of sit there and I'll forget and I'll go back and read about it. Oh yeah, I haven't seen that yet, or haven't seen that for a while.
When you were younger, did you have like a book of the type of venues that I remember when I was in hospitality, I used to have like this notebook and I'd be like writing about types of venues I really like or ideas that I had. Like, the name for it and all this sort of shit like that.
No, hospo came a bit later to me in life. I mean, my first ever thing was I used to go golf ball hunting. I used to sell golf balls back to the golfers. And then I had like a gardening business, and then I had a roof cleaning business and all these different things. I only got into hospo late, so I guess I didn't have a book per se, but I always had ideas about, I guess, making money differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine you, though, with that Pinterest, that being a thing at some point in your life.
And it's not there to copy around. It's just an idea. You see something and you go, like I remember I saw, there was a picture of a dude in Italy and he had a coffee and he was walking somewhere. He had his donut resting on top. That's fucking cool. And then a couple of years later, I made this thing, espresso martini donut. So it was a coffee and donuts, which we did for Vamp Festival 2013. It was back when there wasn't a lot of social media, but apparently it trended on Twitter. Anyway, but like those little things where you see something, like I was looking at a pea shoot the other day in a picture, and it was like, oh, that could be a really cool vessel. Actually, you get a pea shoot, you remake that, and it's just like you look at things, but then I don't want to copy that, but it just gives you inspiration to do something. Yeah,
you mash the things that you like the most together, and it works.
There's one that I've always wanted to do, and Ben hates it. I'm going to do it one day. But it was basically this guy called Chef Watsanaki. He's a dude over in Singapore. He's amazing. Like, I haven't tried his food, but his food looks epic. But anyway, there's something with a beer tin. I want to do like if anyone steals this out there, you're in trouble. But no, basically like use the beer batter. We've done the beer batter chip, cut the top off, beer batter, fish and chips inside the thing.
Okay.
But the crushed tin, and then you have like the sauce on top of the thing. And it's like you hold your crushed beer can with a little canapé, horsey derby thing.
Oh, I like that.
Ben hates it.
Are you saying like the can of beer is what holds it?
Is the vessel, yeah.
Ah.
So these kind of things, like they come and go. And you know, with everything that we do, someone doesn't like it, you got to sell it to them. No, it's going to be really cool.
I quite like that.
Yeah.
I saw this thing recently where Colonial Beer Brewing have done cans, like the big lip cans.
That's what we did it with Colonial, the fish and chips.
Ah, did you?
Yeah, we did it for them, yeah.
Did you really? Yeah, because they got those big lips.
Wide mouths.
The wide mouth.
Yeah.
That's the new trend mouthpiece on these bottles.
I think you rip it off and
cans.
apparently I'm not a beer drinker, but you can smell the beer while you drink it, sort of thing. So it's like having your own can. Yeah.
Before we get into some shorter questions, I've got to ask, I know you and I have got a similar love for Tony Bourdain, rest his soul.
Yep.
And I can see, as we've spoken before, how the way that fashion impacts what you do, how you guys come up with experiences. You mentioned before about Pinterest.
Yep.
When you think about your overarching principles for what you do, and I get a sense that a lot of that is, as you've mentioned, having respect for the guest and the customer as part of the process. Are there certain things that come to mind that you're always trying to tick off in your head? You know, when you're coming up with a job.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the job and I guess where we're at. I mean, the main things I try to do. Let's take a wedding to get out of it is the journey of the client, to make sure that they get what they want out of it. It's not like I'm not here to sell you chicken, beef or fish at your wedding because that's going to make the most profit. It's like, tell me what you did, what key things, like, you know, where you met first, where your first date, you know, whether, like you went out for dinner on an anniversary, what did you eat there? Like memorable things. And then that in that wedding thing is like, that's where I like, so clients can go, there's those little nuances. For my wedding, like we did a journey of our relationship together, and basically it just took everyone on everything we did, and on the back you flipped the menu and it had, you know, our journey together and what they ate and what it meant to us.
That's fantastic.
So at the wedding, like it was big French baguettes with pate caked in butter, because that was one of our first dates. We were up at in what's the wine region in Sydney? The
Orange?
And outside Sydney, anyway, up there. But it was it'll come to me. It was we're up there there was the graveyard launch, Broken Hill. And they had it there. I remember we were on this fourth date or something where we were eating this French baguette and pate, and I was just like, that's going to be a part of our thing. That's sick. That's so bad for you and good. But yeah, I guess like the key things, and then when you're in an event or in a retail thing, is it's experiencing. So we just did a brand for Vamp called Admissions, which is a pop-up restaurant.
Okay.
Which a concept we came up with, which we blew the roof off. We did a really good job. But the thing was that what I like to do is sit there and read a crowd on a night. So at Admissions, like the lighting's not right. The music's going to be right, the temperature, there's a younger crowd and go up a bit. this here, more food there, more that there, free champagne there. I guess it's just trying to make sure all those elements, because hospitality is like food, fashion, it's the lighting, it's the sound, it's everything, the smells. You can't just open a cafe and have the best coffee. That's good, but then they're going to stay there for one coffee and piss off.
Yeah.
You need to be really good at everything. So try and make that experience that people buy into and want to hang out there with you.
Yeah. So it sort of sounds like you got this lattice work of the story related to the event, let's say with the wedding.
Yeah.
And then you pin, and intertwine in that story is the menu that is really telling the story. And then you put on things like ambience, lighting, sound, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And that's sort of how you structure it all.
Yeah, it's all those little 1%ers you do that the 5% of the population will notice, but they're very important to notice that. So, yeah.
And then you fix up all the logistics at the
fix all this in the end.
Not driving around.
Just don't open that cupboard.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into some shorter, fast questions for you. There's a good one there. What's in your fridge?
No, it's funny. Yumi's hummus is always there. A 1 litre tub of Yumi's hummus and a bottle of French champagne.
Okay, how much hummus do you consume on a week?
We do about a litre a week.
Okay, not bad. Kilo. What about olive oil? How much do you do a week?
Olive oil, we go through about a bottle a week easily.
Okay, so we do about, that Greek heritage, we do about 2 litres a week.
Shit.
Yeah, it's a lot. I put it on everything.
Just here? 2 litre?
Well, we marinate a lot of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
So I smelled
some good stuff on the way in, actually.
Yeah, marinate a lot of things in olive oil, whatever. The hummus, though, is great. I've become a fan of Pill Pal, only because they use olive oil in the hummus.
Yeah, okay.
Because, it's better for you.
Yeah, okay, cool. I'll have to give it a go. I don't know why. It was just a funny thing. I always look at my fridge and there's always fucking Yumi's hummus. And I'm always get home and I'll just sit there and snack on it.
Yeah, it's a great question. I love that you said that through me.
I said that through myself.
Do you know... What was that show that used to be on TV with that Greek guy? Was it Aristos?
Aristos, the chef that turn up and make stuff out of your thing. Surprise chef.
And he'd go through your fridge as well. It's a brilliant question that I'm going to ask most of our guests. Because it's a good one.
It's very relevant.
If you were to pick a food item and a drink item of choice, let's say top 2, what would they be?
Beverage. I'm not saying a dickhead. Well, look, wine generally.
Mm-hmm. Be specific though.
Okay, if I had to pick, that's a tough one. Look, I'd say Chardonnay. Okay, is this like one of those things you get for the rest of your life, sort of thing?
Sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not being a French champagne. I love.
Yeah.
Love. But then you can't be drinking that for the rest of your life. So probably like a Chardonnay or something. And favourite sort of, I guess, thing would be steak, chips, and salad.
Steak frites.
Yeah. Entrecote, Jason Jones, thank you.
Entrecote?
Yeah.
Just, that place is unreal.
Jace, actually, for my wedding, funnily enough, he gave me the entrecote sauce for my steak and chips for my wedding day.
No shit.
Yeah, he didn't give me the recipe,
but he just gave you
his chef bought me down about 10 gin packs of it.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Because I remember when Lauren and I love to go there, and I have this thing for the steak tartare. I asked them to give me a serve and a half, so it's like the equivalent of having a steak, because it is possibly the best tartare I've had.
It does an awesome one. Cumulus does another really good one.
Yeah, but their tartare is super...
Portion control.
It's very, very small. What does your morning routine look like?
Morning routine is, look, I'd like to say I'm a morning person, and I try to be a morning person. I'm a little bit slow, so I've got an arthritic thing, so I'm pretty slow in the morning. So getting up early, look, early for me is like 6:37, but Alfie usually jumps my head around 6:30.
Okay.
Routine. Alfie jumps my head at 6:30. I say, Alfie, let me sleep 10 more minutes. 5, jumps my head again. I get up. The wife's just got back to work now, so 3 days a week I'll get the kids ready for school, or daycare and kinder. But we have breakfast every morning. On the days that I work, head into one of the cafes, make coffee for a couple of hours, and then sort of head into the office. But I mean, the main sort of thing is obviously spend time with little man, little girl, as much as possible. It's like I said, I'd love to be a morning person, but if I get up and that sun's not up, it's so tough.
It's very, very hard. We've actually changed our wake up time to 7:30 to be in line with the current sunrise because I was just finding it too hard. Even when you pulled the blinds open, it's just dark.
I heard your man Marty likes to get up and do 3 hours before thing.
Yeah, the 5 hour.
It's a great
5
idea.
a.m. thing.
There's no fucking way. He invited me to the gym session. I haven't taken him up on it
Has
yet.
he? That's an amazing gym. That he's got at his place.
if you got that in your house, that's awesome. But to get up, I did F45 for a bit, but yeah.
Yeah. Can you, just on Marty, you can't really say what you guys are up to together, can you?
Oh, no, not really. Isn't that great? We're just working on a few little things together. So it's
just to watch this space.
Yeah, watch his space. Yeah, he's a cool cat. A lot of the guys you've sort of interviewed actually have had the pleasure of working with throughout the years. So there's quite a few there. I've done a lot of catering and engagement parties, and I think it's been great what you're doing on this. So
awesome.
Congrats to you. Yeah.
The evening routine, what does that look like?
Well, I guess the one thing I don't have a routine. Okay, I'm probably the most disorganized person ever.
Yeah.
I don't know how I've got where I've got, but I've always told Ben I need an EA.
Okay.
And he says, "Well, you pay for it." And I'm like, "Well, fucking would make more money if I had one." And I think it's something I need, but I guess routine for me is I don't really have a routine because I bounce between retail and catering ranges from breakfast, lunch, dinner. So it's a 365 day. We used to not do Christmas, but we've sort of found ourselves doing it. 7 days a week with cafes, and then we've got a bakery that's 24 hours a day. So, I mean, I'm not as heavily involved in the bakery, but I don't have a routine. That's my thing. Every week's new. But when I do get home, I like to get home and obviously dinner with the family, read alphabet, Scout goes down first, put her down, read out a few books. I've got a little globe, talk to him about the world and food. I do read him cookbooks.
That's awesome.
He loves Jamie Oliver.
Of course he does.
Don't we all? But yeah, so I read him a cookbook and then a storybook, and then we look at the globe and talk about different cultures and foods and stuff.
I like that.
And then usually a couple of glasses of wine with the missus, and then I do a lot of work at night. I try not to, but it's so fucking hard.
It's very hard.
Then you find yourself on the socials and you just throw your phone away.
Yeah. What do you hate seeing the most when you're scrolling on your phone on Instagram? What do you hate seeing the most?
What I hate seeing the most?
Yeah.
Food-wise?
Just anything.
Food trends? No. Yeah, I think it is. I really don't like seeing people who get into hospitality and that for that reason. For that photo, for that. I remember reading about someone who was pretty all right in hospitality. And they're talking about they've created an Instagrammable cafe. I'm like,
that's right.
I don't know who it is, and I don't want to
this.
offend them or anything, but it's like, why would you create something so people can just take photos? If it doesn't have, was it substance over, what's the word? You have substance over, style over substance.
Yes.
Like to have like something it's got like a little paintbrush of this and that shit there and that there. Because it looks good in the photo, if you have not tried it doesn't eat well, then why the hell are you making it?
We had one of the comedians who's been on the show go there, and he said it was a terrible idea.
They're talking about the lighting or something for great photos.
Yeah, I don't know what. Look, whatever. Yeah. If people go there, then good on them. But
good luck to them.
It's a weird. I want to go somewhere for utility.
Yeah,
you know, like it's got to be a nice experience. Like I've got to find value in it. If it's just going there to take photos of myself. Yeah. Why am I going there?
Correct.
Why can't I just do that at another venue?
No. So all our venues are basically they're not the best coffee in Melbourne. They're not the best food in Melbourne, but they're really good. They're a great package.
Yeah.
Really good coffee, really good food. Our place, Lulu White in South Yarra, is more of an adult place. More booze driven. And then the Hamptons is more like, it's a bit slower over there. But it's still good. It's good food. It's consistent. It's all that. And great service.
It's a good little place.
And friendly.
It's something that Hampton really needed.
Yeah.
Again, you guys and your selection of locations is on point.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right. Last question.
Yep.
What's been the best purchase under $200 that you've made?
I heard you ask someone this and I thought, I've got to think about that and I haven't thought about it. Best purchase under $200? Jeez Louise. You know what? I would have to be. I do a bit of work with the boys at Oscar Hunt. I know P. Johnson's your man.
Yeah.
but I do a lot of this Oscar Hunt jacket. But they designed a jacket for me which was just under $200.
Really?
Yeah, for a thank you for a bit of work that I'd done with them.
Wow.
So that was one of my jackets, which I only pull out every so it's got patches. It's got all kinds of things. I sort of went to town on it.
Wow.
But that was probably it.
I want to see a photo of this jacket.
I will send you a photo of the jacket.
Tommy, where can people find you on the internet?
Where can you find me on the internet? You can find me all over social media. I hear people get Tommy Lash. Tommy Lash? From the Instagrams. You can find me obviously at Tommy Collins. Tommy Collins by Atlantic Group. House of Lulu White. The Hamptons in Hampton.
The Villager up at Bulla.
I've sort of helped my mates out with their place, the Cricketers in Port Melbourne. We've got the place, the Firehouse in Ringwood, a new pub. I'm basically somewhere in a catering venue near you. Wedding, 21st, anything.
Yeah, and we'll make sure we give links to everything on the blog post and whatnot. Tommy Collins by Atlantic Group, I think, is a good place to start.
That's our main place.
Plus your Instagrams.
Down at Docklands.
Your Instagram's always good as well. It's good behind the scenes there. Yeah,
it's a bit of fun. I look after the socials on my own personal one and Tommy Collins. So I think it keeps people it's good to show people what you're doing and live and all that kind of stuff.
I love it.
Sort of I know it's not for everyone, but it does give people a chance to see what your day's sort of like.
I think Instagram has probably been the best. I would say the best transition in social media in the last few years. There's issues that every platform has, but if you compare it to Twitter and what a cesspool that became, I think Instagram's amazing just to give people access to things.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think, this is bending my noodle.
Yeah.
Do they actually listen to conversations? I've had things where I've said stuff and it's popped up my feed like an hour later.
Now someone's got to test it.
Yeah.
I've been reading a lot about disinformation campaigns and how Facebook and Instagram operate and whatnot. It's just an area of media that I'm fascinated by. I've got a feeling that it's either some sort of recency bias or they are genuinely using that data. Because there was a conversation that I had on 2 occasions.
I've had 3 or 4.
Where I've spoken about Tim Tams.
Yeah.
And it popped into my Instagram feed not long after that.
Yeah, I've had similar. It's crazy.
Look, the reality is we get something for free, and I understand that there are certain things that you give away as part of using that platform.
Yeah.
I think people just need to get more realistic about that. My problem that I have with these platforms is that they operate as publishers, i.e. they can censor someone, they can cut off someone, and they get the First Amendment, what's the word? They don't have the same issues that other platforms have, like AT&T. But, if you're a publisher, like a New York Times, and you say, I don't want to publish this sort of thing, then you can still be sued. You don't fall under the guidelines of the First Amendment. So that's my concern is they operate like publishers, but they want to behave like platforms, pay no tax, have no issues where they can't be sued for removing people for whatever reason. I think it's going to be interesting for the next 2 years because I think regulation is coming. I think regulation's coming big time. We're going to have a few chats with some people about this.
I thought you
really
would.
Interesting.
Thanks for having me, though.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for making it to the end. Before you run off, subscribe if you enjoyed this episode or do leave us a rating. For Instagram, go follow us on @uncommon_podcast. For YouTube, search Uncommon Podcast and don't forget to subscribe if you're watching this video. Also give us a like or leave a comment on what you thought about the episode. But until next time, thanks so much for listening.